says it's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again, it's worse than it was before. If I had seen such riches, I could live with being poor. I'll sit down, I'll sit down, I'll sit down, sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 in sympathy.
Evening, everyone. Evening. Here we are again. Have a little chat. Just before we go live, we are live, but just to say, I have put on tonight subscribers mode only in the chat. The reason I've done that, for the last couple of shows and today, there's been an absolute arsewipe in the fact of, I think it's Pete Hayward again. He's been left a load of comments in here which were deleted earlier, and he's been in TJ Warren's chat as well, left bullshit in there. So at the end of the day, what I want to do is try and stop these idiots. I mean, they can sub, they can leave a stupid comment and they've got one sub. I mean, yeah, but what it does do, it does help the channel analytics. So it's a win-win really for me. Oregon Gouda, good Godfather Jez, good to see you, my friend. Yeah, I've got the wine. But let's get into this. Yeti, great show you did this afternoon, man. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm really good. Got the show going eventually after a few teething problems, and really enjoyed it as well. It's good to have a chat with Opfuzz about this weekend's games, and I'll be good to have a chat with you guys about it as well. I just want to know, Kenny, because everyone keeps saying that's a green screen and not really your house, and I don't believe that for a minute. That is your house, isn't it?
What I do for a living pays extremely well, and that's probably one of the reasons why, like I said, cancel culture is like, let's just say, I've got like I said, iron wings when cancel culture comes my way, because at the end of the day, I don't. You could do what you want, but when I've got all of this, well,
pianos ain't cheap, are they?
Exactly, yeah. And you know what? I've got a pianist in the family. I've got a lot, and that's that living room. Oh my god! You know what? The bill I had for the builders. Oh my god! You know what I mean? Sometimes you can get the right builders. So you know what it's like. Some builders turn up on time. Some don't.
Don't forget, mate. You still got to pay me for that bathroom. You know what I mean?
Exactly. remember, I had the gas man as well. Somebody's worked gas, bathroom, everything. So yeah, thanks to Jez, I've got loads of piping hot water. I've got a jacuzzi upstairs. Got guest bedrooms, en suites. You name it, we've got a lot.
That's not bad, mate. I tell you what, fair play to you for a young lad that was brought up in Islington. You've done well, man. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a man cave in the garden as well, which I've built him.
Exactly.
You know, it's all good.
Got it all. He's living the dream. Static says at Carl De Rossi, the person you mentioned, Jez offers help and support, but he threw it back in his face. Sadly, he's far beyond help now. Yeah, well, there you go, people. Anyway, let's get into this. Kenny, I'll come to you first. You were at the game. It was not a great display of football in the first half, to be fair.
100%.
We worked our way in. I think, I made the analogy to you the other day. It was a bit, to me, like two boxers, like they were sussing each other out.
Yeah.
And and they gradually sort of worked their way into the game. I mean, give us your breakdown as you saw it live.
It all kind of started when I saw the team sheet. When I saw the team sheet, I just knew. I was telling anyone to listen. I saw Dan before the match, Dan Arsenal. I spoke to a good friend of mine, Rob, as well. And I just said, look, you know what? The first thing, that team is being picked not to lose. I basically outlined what I thought would happen, and I kind of said it as fact. I just looked at the team and said, right, we're going to make sure we concede possession, but we make sure that that when we're in their last third, they're not getting anywhere near us, and that all we're going to win the game is one chance. As long as we take that one chance, we've got a good chance winning. We've got to make sure we stay in the game in the first half, and in the second half, get that chance, and then make ourselves difficult to beat afterwards. And that's exactly how it panned out. Man City had most of the possession. I thought if you look at the way they were passing the ball at the back, it was fantastic. They had 4 centre halves, all good on the ball. So you could see the difference. Like when Edison got the ball, passing out the back, no danger. To the extent that Eddie had to basically stopped trying to be the first press, and so was Odegaard, because they were wasting energy by doing that. If they kept on trying to press them, then what would happen in the last third of the game? That would have been extremely knackered, and that's when they would have picked us up off. So the way we played was really, really clever. Declan Rice, had a very, very good game. I thought, to be honest, I thought our defenders did very well. But in terms of like the danger men, I thought that Jesus, stretched Man City, especially in the second half, and the subs. We brought in some really, really good subs, and they were involved in the goal. But one thing you want to look at is that sometimes you've got to ask the crowd to be a bit patient with Roy. I get where a lot of people coming from in terms of like the way we're trying to pass the ball out the back. We were creating danger. City were trying to, disrupt the way we're doing it. But second half, you can see why we're trying to play at the back, because he utilised Jesus' kind of pace and ability to get City out of their comfort areas in order to stretch the game, and then bringing on Martinelli was a masterclass. But if you want that game to go into the Sky's greatest games or the Premiership great games, get it, because it was really, really. It must have been really frustrating for Yeti to watch as a neutral, because he probably had his Sunday dinner, rubbed his head together, said, "Look, I'm looking forward to this game," and then you looked at him.
I was struggling to sleep, Kenny, so it was helping me.
And that's exactly what it was meant to do. Pep just wanted to sort of like do a smash grab, get a goal and then make it difficult to beat. And then when it came to the situation, he thought, you know what, I'll take the point because it's not gonna do our Man City any harm to lose the game or drop points, because it's only the eighth game of the season. So you know that Man City are going to come good. But in terms of what we did, respect for the way we made sacrifices, but in terms of an entertainment, not great. In terms of quality football, absolutely not great. But sometimes, you know what? There's a way to win football matches. It's not always nice
3
football.
points.
Exactly, it's the points. Wolves did the same thing to Man City.
Yep.
They put men behind the ball, took whatever chances they had to win the game, and then made themselves pragmatic, and got in positions where Man City couldn't hurt getting behind them. Same thing we did. Tottenham do it to them every season. So it's not. Trust me, we're not going to be able to play like that against them all the time, because they'll smash us. We play like that against them in the return leg at the Etihad, they will murder us, because they'll be like boom, 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 relentless, and we won't be able to cope.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, man. Yeti, I know we've talked about this, but it was a bit of an indifferent game, wasn't it? I mean, Raya, great goalkeeper. I'm not criticising at all, but he very, very, very nearly cost us a goal. In the fact that this playing out the back bullshit, we're not very good at it. We're not, and the fact that it was Alvarez, wasn't it, that came in?
Yeah. He was closing down like crazy.
And I'm like, no, we can't keep doing this. And I'm an advocate, right? If you're shit at doing something, don't do it. If you have to kick the ball into midfield on a drop kick or goal kick, then do it. because every time we try and do this out the back bullshit, I'm panicking. My heart rate's going. I'm thinking,
yeah.
I mean, give me your breakdown of what you saw of what Arsenal are. Let's be honest, bloody crap at doing it, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I'll say to CJ Demoy, who said in the chat, if you pay me, I'll come on. So basically, I have to think of that and think, well, we've got to make sure you get what you earn, what you deserve. So if we've all got a penny, guys, then, 3p should do it to get you on cam. I would have thought that should be about your level, I would have thought of. Also, the game, to be honest, that old saying, mate, where you get an ugly person and they say you've got a face that only a mother could love. That game was, was a game that only a fan could love. It was not the most entertaining. It was as a neutral. But at the end of the day, like we just said, 3 points is 3 points. The playing out the back, I didn't understand the Raya thing, to be honest. I mean, I know he's at Arsenal now, and it's a bigger crowd, but I mean, he was the goalie when Brentford beat Man City. So I didn't understand them nerves, but I suppose it's just what it is. The old game, personally, I thought it was a real professional performance. Sorry, I just let that one get away. I thought it was a real professional performance. The way that you set out to play, if you'd have set out to play the way you've played them in the past, you'd have got beat. I don't think they was mega on it, but I think if you had done that and left the spaces, you would have got beat. You was pressing at the right times. Even when they brought Doku on, which I thought was going to make it a little bit, difficult, you handled him perfectly. I mean, he was under against Zinchenko. I thought, here you go, he's getting megged in a minute. He's getting megged again. And, he didn't. And, you pressing him, you was on him straight away. So he never got to drop the shoulder and try and run past you or anything. I actually sort of watching it on the night. Like I say, I was bored to death. But, like thinking about it now, I think it was a real professional job. And, I've got to hand it to Arteta. Everybody seemed to know what it was that they had to do. And it should have been a red card. They should have been down to 10 men, 100%. But then again, you have to look at it like this. If you do go down to 10 men, do you then get cocky and try and open up and then get, taken out? I mean, so that's another thing you have to look at in that respect. But it definitely should have been a red card. If the Beckham one's a red card, then that's a red, in my opinion. But anyway. But, Martinelli comes on. Oh, mate, he was quality. He actually woke me up for a minute. And you was just going for it. You could see he just was not leaving that game without winning it, without at least scoring or something like that. Great defensive performance from both sides, I thought. I thought Man City was trying to do things going forward, but you just was on them. You was handing them a lot of the time. I did notice at times Odegaard trying to tell people to press with him, and they wasn't listening. For that matter, for me, Rice needs that captaincy because he was just on another planet. One of the best game I've seen him have yet in an Arsenal shirt, to be fair. I mean, he takes one off the line, and then you've got Saliba, who basically it was as if he gave Haaland a sleeping tablet at the start of the game because Haaland never did nothing. So fair play to you, man. 3 points, Premier League championships on the way. Unfortunately, sorry Spurs, but it's Arsenal's, I believe, from what I'm being seeing. So impressed to be honest.
Yeah, I mean it was a long time coming. 13 games before we actually got 3 points off Man City. It wasn't a great Man City team, but Kenny, I want to come to you on this one. That was a red card to me all day long by Kovacic. I mean, that was almost an ankle breaker on Odegaard. I mean, the standard of refereeing, Kenny, we're seeing right now at the moment seems to be at all time.
Hey, Jess, can you go to Yeti with this one, and I'll come back. I've been get the door. Sorry, Yeti.
No
Yeah,
worries, mate.
no worries, mate. No worries. I mean, go on.
Sorry, mate. I was just going to say, hi, Steve. Hope you're doing well, man.
How you doing, Paul?
I'll come to you on that red card story. Doing a forever Mama Flossie, big up at Mama Flossie, legendary to me. Mate, that Yeti to me, that tackle could have broken his bloody ankle.
Yeah,
100%. And it's a yellow, goes to VAR, right? And they say, yeah, okay. And then he does it again to Rice. Make it make sense, man. It's refereeing standards have got so low, I think, now.
Yeah, I can't get my head around it, to be honest, because I mean, Mike Dean was saying in that video that, you know, these things won't happen. They'll never happen again. Don't worry, it'll never happen again. And then the next few games, they're happening again. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. I mean, like you say, he's not in control of his weapons, as they say in the UFC. Yeah, and his studs go right onto his ankle and take him down. It could be accidental, could be classed as accidental, but it doesn't matter. He still went in studs blazing, and it's his ankle. And for me, that is red all day long. How the hell he stayed on, and how the hell Pep didn't take him off? I was amazed. I thought, are you mad? I thought, you know, you can't leave that guy out with a yellow card, because the ref's obviously had something said at half time. So the next thing Kovacic does, the next tackle he does, he's going to get rid. He's gone. So I was major surprised that he came straight back out. That was absolutely crazy. But yeah, 100%. I mean, getting back onto the subject, 100% for me, mate. That is a red. That is a red.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it live, and he went in studs up. It was always the case in my day of refereeing. If you went in studs up,
yeah,
and making contact, that's a red card.
Yeah,
I mean, you could see Odegaard's ankle do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Potential leg break, or it's severe tendon ligament damage. And he's out for a long, long time. And
I think Odegaard slips. And then he goes straight into the back of him. But it still studs up. So that should be taken into account. I mean, and they have this thing where it's like, oh, well, you know, nobody got... I seen it today. Well, nobody got injured, so it don't matter. And it's like, well, that's a dumb way of looking at things. So basically, and anybody could just kick people in the head with the studs as long as they don't get injured. That's just mental. That is just a mental way of looking at it. Just because he didn't get injured does not mean it's not a red.
But the thing is, the problem... I hear what you're telling me. He may not have been injured at the time.
Well, true. Yeah, true.
The next day, that ankle could be seriously swollen and bruised and distressed.
Yeah,
definitely. So you have to think about that as well.
Yeah,
and I know it's a contact game. Yeah, I get that. I understand that, right? But when you're doing that sort of challenge, it's extremely bloody dangerous. And we don't know who... I haven't heard if he's injured or not, because we don't get that sort of report out of Arsenal. But I'm sure that he's probably turning up for the Norwegian team if they're playing in the international games. And anyway, I want to ask you this.
I just want to put something to you before you say the next thing. You know the Curtis Jones one for Liverpool. He goes in. It's the ball first and then lands on the foot. Kovacic went straight in for the foot.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't understand how one's a red and one ain't.
Well, that is what I'm trying to say. The level of refereeing now, the interpretation of the laws of the game is so cocked up nowadays. I mean, I think the problem we're facing here, right, is professional referees have almost got a bit of a license. that they can get away and say, well, actually, no, I don't think that was.
No.
Where if you're an amateur referee, even if you're refereeing at county level, you have to play it to the letters of the law, or you lose your status.
Yeah, well, I completely
Get
agree.
downgraded, and so you have to be spot on, strict, no shadow of a doubt. If you think that's a red card, it's a red card. They can appeal that, the team, whatever, blah blah blah. But I want to ask you this one, separate, nothing to do with the game or anything, right? The international break we have right now, yeah. England are playing, Wales are playing, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, God knows who else, right? They're playing for qualifications, yeah? Right? Why the bloody hell do we then have to have a friendly?
Yeah.
Why? What is that? It is so,
I don't know, mate.
Frustrates me. I can understand if it's 2 qualifying games, right?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
We played that England, Wales, Scotland, and all that. We're all playing 1 qualifying game, and then it's a friendly. Why,
mate? I've not watched any England games or anything for ages. I mean, they just bore me to death, to be honest. And I agree with you. Why have you got to have a Euro qualifier and then a friendly sort of afterwards? It's like there's some kind of sponsorship or some kind of deal to make a bit of extra money or something like that. It's ridiculous. I mean, just take 1 week. I mean, don't even take 1 week, to be honest. But, I mean, I've always been a fan of England just getting the players they want for the team and leaving the Premier League alone. That's what I've always been a fan of, where England have actually got their own team. But, I just... There's no point in a friendly. I mean, it's just bloody boring. I mean, and the way we play anyway, I won't even watch that qualifier, to be honest. I mean, watching that qualifier, it'd be like watching that Arsenal Man City game again, and I'm not doing any of that anymore.
No, same as that. Kenny, I'll come back to the original point. The tackle by Kovacic on Odegaard, and then 5 minutes later, he did it to Rice. He shouldn't have been on the pitch to make that tackle on Rice. I mean, he could have broke his ankle, could have done some serious damage to ligaments and stuff like that.
Yeah, Rice one was bad as well.
It was a terrible tackle, Kenny, and yet the referee deemed a yellow card. It went to VAR. VAR review it and say, no, well, okay. I mean, if the first one was a yellow, the second should have been a double yellow, red.
No, I think you're right. Because when I first saw it, as soon as he went to the VAR camera, at first I thought you were going to send him off. Then I realised it was Michael Oliver refereeing. I know Michael, and I think that's where people got to realise Michael Oliver. We've seen it at least once where he's been asked to change his decision or consider it, and he said, "No, I'm staying my decision." When you look at it and you cast your mind back to what happened at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium the week before, remember Michael Oliver is a different kind of referee. He's very, very confident in what he's doing. He tends to referee his own way. You think about it, what happened the week, about 10 minutes later when he did another one on Rice, he just went, "Nah, leave it." I'm not surprised at Michael Oliver, but let's face it. If you're going to send Curtis off for a similar tackle when Curtis actually got some of the ball, and it was kind of I suppose it was a little bit higher than both their ankles. You probably should be sending him off for that one. But again, another referee sends him off, no doubt about it. But when it's Michael Oliver, it's different. I think he knows he's the best referee in the country. He knows he's got that kind of regard. So they give him more leeway. He's the only referee I know who gets a lot more leeway than other referees. Other referees just went, "No, I'm going to." They kind of say, "Yeah, I don't want to be marked down." He doesn't care. he doesn't care because he rarely makes mistakes. But that was his first mistake in years. But because it's Mark Oliver, they're not going to say anything because at the end of the day, if you look at the first tackle, Howard Webb saved him on that Michael Owen thing where he says, well, I would have given a yellow card, but he kind of, marks him down.
Together, don't they?
Yes. The second one should have been a yellow card. So he's kind of stuck with him. But at the end of the day, you should be outraged, but I'm glad that we won.
That's the main thing,
kind of tempered my what would have been my anger and frustration and confusion, because I just want the points, really, because there's one thing that used to always frustrate me about our fans is that we always use referees as an excuse for us not doing anything. And let's face it, Man City got a lot of decisions going their way, and we just have to do it. Sometimes when you're playing the champions, that's what happens.
Yeah, fair point, mate. Kenny,
there's no repercussions, though, is there? That to me is where the problem is. There's no repercussions on the refs. I mean, like, if you're going to work and there's someone you don't like, you go into work every day and kick him in the nuts or something, you're gonna get repercussions. Whereas the referees, there's no repercussions at all. It's just like, they should take them away from the scene for 6 months or drop them into the League Two or something like that, and where they won't get as much money for the games. But there's absolutely no repercussions at all for referees. So why wouldn't you just do it the way you want to do it?
I totally agree with you, mate. The thing is, Kenny, I'll ask you this one. You are an advocate of international football. Fair play, respect for that. I don't get this, right? I understand that England are in a qualifying position; they've got to play that game. But why have we got to have a totally unimportant friendly after the event? What is the point of that? It's a nonsensical game that doesn't need to be played at this stage of the season, where there's a risk to players from all countries: Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland, England, right? There's a risk that all those players played in friendlies where they could potentially be out for the rest of the season. What is the point of it? I don't get it, man. To me, I just think it's a money-raising opportunity for the FA, UEFA, FIFA, whoever. It's just bollocks to me.
I think the thing with I think the thing with the FA again is that every football association needs to make money. Like I think they kind of like I said, got like tempered that with the League of Nations. With the League of Nations, they had the League of Nations. That was a proper competition with a cup at the end of every 2 years, where they said, right, that's where we're going to make our money. And then what they do is they offer like little incentives. Oh yeah, you could if you win your league, you could like I said, get some qualifying points for the for the Euros, or get into the playoffs if you do well in the Europa League. So they kind of do that in terms of like international football. Again, the FAs, the managers themselves, the first thing they say, "Oh, I don't get enough time with my players," and that's the situation. That's probably one of the reasons why England, Wales, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and the Republic of Ireland, they all want to play qualifying tournaments, because they know that, especially in England, the clubs and the British public said, "Oh Jesus, for God's sake, more international friendlies." Can you imagine it? England playing friendlies for 2 years, whilst Arsenal, whoever the clubs are going for the Champions League, going for the league, going for every major trophy, and you want your players to rest because you're in every competition. And there's no doubt in my mind that clubs aren't going to like it. So I get where you're coming from, but I always say the thing about the friendlies is that they've been here for time in it. It's a money maker.
Absolutely.
It does is it impresses UEFA, impresses FIFA, because the more times you help FIFA and UEFA out and spread the football diaspora, it helps you get in the running for in contention for holding major tournaments. So that's the only reason why we have friendlies. But again, I think probably in this juncture we should have just had Italy and that's it. No, you don't need the 2 games. Don't need the 2 games. But the FA skint. The FA need the money, innit? We know that.
Imagine playing the game, playing the actual Euro qualifier, and your player Rice gets through it, and then having the friendly, and your player Rice gets injured in it.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. Is that it's unnecessary to do this at this stage of the season? I mean, we're coming into a crucial point. Teams are starting to get into their races.
Yes, but you know what you need to do? You need to look at the thing you need to do. You need to look at situations like players as well. You look what's happening before. Remember, Sir Alex Ferguson's not around anymore. He was allowed to get away with pulling his players out, and nothing happened to them because it's Sir Alex Ferguson. Now there's no Sir Alex Ferguson. Players feel the pressure to turn up for England because they don't. Because England have got a strong pool of players, they'll miss out. They feel that Southgate's going to hold it against them, and it's the same with you've got egos as well. One of the reasons why Messi and Ronaldo, score multiple goals at international level, and Harry Kane, they trump at every friendly. You know what I mean? Harry Kane, as England captain, is hungry for goals, so he's going to turn up to every international. Sometimes you say it's the clubs bowing down to the FA, but I think it's the players as well, especially English players now. They do want to play for England. It wasn't like it was with Capello. Previous to Capello, it was the same with McLaren, Ericsson, where they were getting a lot of criticism. The criticism England players get is few and far between now. The last time they got criticised was probably for the Euro 2020 when there was the issue with Black Lives Matter and taking a knee. Apart from that, they've never been dug out for their performances. Because they don't really stunk the place out. Southgate's got it because we feel that Southgate's just not the right man to go that one further. But apart from that, we're more.
It's the Be Nice era, Fred. They called you Freddie then. It's the Be Nice era, mate.
I just this clown here, Jared Webb. Please nobody be fooled by Kenny Green screen. It's fake.
Can I answer this?
I just moved in, Kenny. How you doing, bro? I mean, I just cannot believe these clowns that actually think that people believe this. I mean, go on, Yeti.
I'm actually in a cave in the Himalayas, so my green screen's fake as well.
It's just laughable to me. Seriously, it really is. I mean, what? Why make such an inane, pathetic little comment? Seriously, it is what it is. But we have to deal with these people. Anyway, let's move on. Yeti, one of the things I took out of that game, the Arsenal Man City game, it was almost like, dare I say it, there was a game plan to disrupt Man City's way of play.
Yeah.
Which I think worked to a point. Yep. And
absolutely worked.
If that was the plan, then fair play. And big up to Joseph, big up gents, big up to you, my friend. Member for 3 months. Thank you, mate, for that. It worked well, I think.
Yeah. I think if that was Arteta's plan, then that was a masterclass. And also, I mean, I said on the stream the other day that you've got a plan B now, and you've been using it, and you're more conservative. You're not like as gung ho as you was last season, which worked obviously because you're 93% at the top of the table, but probably burnt out at the end as well, and that's probably where the bottle job came from. But at the end of the day, that is how you need to play these bigger teams and the teams that's going to, not bigger teams, but teams that's going to come and be a threat to you. So actually, I find it quite impressive. The only thing I think that you need to do now is play the gung ho style against the lesser teams, and then play the conservative style against the Liverpools, the should I say Tottenham? Yeah, go on, I'll say Tottenham, and and do it that way. But it might actually work out for you. Got to respect Arteta on that, which is not something I say very often. But he does seem to have a plan B now, where you'll just sit there and just press. And when it works, and it did. And you managed to get the goal at the end, be it lucky or be it not. Who cares? I mean, who cares if you get a lucky goal? Nobody. You won a game.
Points,
Exactly. 3 points is what matters. And I personally think it was a great. I want to think that that's what Arteta had in mind. And if it was, then you never know. He might have turned a corner.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny, I'm going to ask you this, mate. You have obviously been at the game. You've got the privilege of watching players off the ball more than we can see on the television. And it struck me, and I can, tell me if I'm wrong. When Havertz came on, right, to my view, he was causing issues in that he was dragging Man City players out of position, and that was actually disrupting their way of play. And you would have seen that. I mean, what's your view on that? That's what I saw on the TV, but you're actually at the game, you see it all.
I think what's happening is that when he does look semi-effective, it was in a sort of forward position where he gets where if you looked at when he came on, he played up top, and Jesus and Martinelli played off him, and I think he probably doesn't like playing that way, but he can be effective there. He was effective at Chelsea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
You know what I mean? And because of that, he was able to sort of drag him out because he can hold the ball up, he could run into spaces, and he did cause a lot of havoc. And you remember, last 20 minutes, the defence is tired. So when the defence is tired, you want a fresh player. He's going to do all the things they don't like. So he didn't just disrupt City. He helped us out because at the time when we were trying to see if we can get that chance, he was able to hold the ball up. If you look at the way he held the ball up in the 86th minute for Martinelli, and then Martinelli just can pick his spot, although he's gone for the far corner, and poor old Ake, well, thanks for us, Ake just deflected it and went past their medicine. But yeah, that's a position where I suppose he can play. He can play, to good effect, because we're trying to get him to play the position that Xhaka occupied. But at the moment, sometimes you just have to look at the situation and say, you know what? Let's get him to do what he did occasionally well at Chelsea and see if we can play. But there's a lot of from the crowd. Trust me, there's a lot of Arsenal fans who were desperate for him to score. We're all desperate for him to score the winner, for him to get the winner. Because believe it or not, if he scores at the Emirates, trust me, the roof will come off, and it won't be at Vision or Murph. Because, we think it's out of hope that he does well. Not every Arsenal fan wants it to fail. We just don't know what he's good at. But maybe that's what he's going to be good at. Don't get me wrong. I suppose I need to sort of, lower my standards a little bit and say, you know what, I don't want anything spectacular. I just want it to play okay and well, and then build up to, being spectacular occasionally.
Good point. Yeti. controversial, this one. Soon as Eddie Nketiah was taken off and replaced, the whole intensity of the game changed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I think enough is enough now. That this guy is just not the levels for Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, I agree.
Given his time, he's had his chances, and he's just absolute dog crap.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'd never like criticising an Arsenal player. He's had his chances, and he's bloody rubbish. So
yeah,
what do you think?
Well, first thing I will say is I think you're giving Havertz a little bit too much credit, to be honest with you. But I mean, this is just my opinion. Nobody, you don't have to cancel me or anything like that. But I just think there was a bit giving a little bit too much credit. I saw the same kind of thing from him. He then basically get the one bit of credit I will give him is when he did get the ball, he didn't try and turn and shoot because it probably wouldn't have worked. Well, he could have rebounded off somebody and got in, obviously. But the credit I will give him is what he did, actually setting Martinelli up. Yeah, if I'm wrong, then we'll see it in the next few games. Fair play. That's all good. I said that he should be a 9 anyway, because then you can have the quality midfield and game that you had last season, and then just leave him up front, and then your midfielders can get in and about it. Because I think if you can use Partey and Rice in the midfield with Odegaard or whatever, or whoever's going to do it, then I think you can sort of build something from there, and then just have him at the front, and he might, nick a goal. I mean, I'd rather have him up there than Nketiah, to be quite honest with you. I mean, somebody just said in the chat, I think it was Anthony, that Nketiah is coming to Forest. If Nketiah comes to Forest, mate, then I'm an Arsenal fan.
Kenny,
because I'm done.
Yeah, well, he couldn't make it at Leeds, could he? So it says it all. Kenny, Eddie Nketiah, mate. I mean, he's had his time. Yeah, I was watching a few streams last night. Great debate between Northside and that guy Egal. It was very interesting. How can fans, Kenny, still rate Nketiah? He's absolute rubbish.
I think they're rating him because he wears a shirt. You believe it or not, I don't think they're entirely happy with him. But a lot of Arsenal fans are old-fashioned, and rightly so. And it's well-meaning. It's actually probably the right way to go. They feel if you're playing for Arsenal and they're wearing a shirt, you back them all the way. It's very patriotic. It's like the equivalent of backing someone because they're English. In terms of when England play, and you get behind the country, the national anthem, sing it with all your heart. And I think we did the same with Arsenal. And I think that's probably, I don't know whether it's North side was the one who was backing him or whether it was Egal, but that's what Egal's going to do, because I think you've seen a few good games from Eddie, like the Man United game last year, and you think, you know what, he's capable of doing it. But deep down, I think, I can't speak for these guys, but I think deep down they're just doing it because he wears an Arsenal shirt. He plays for Arsenal. You want him to do well. Some people may support him because obviously they feel affinity towards him because of Ghanaian, got British Ghanaian. But in terms of what they're watching, I suppose you could put Jesus in that bracket, although Jesus is better in the eye because he works harder. Eddie don't score goals. He ain't going to score goals. He's going to work hard for you. You only have to look at the situation. I think in the first half when he did have that chance, he belts it wide, and then I think was there one where he took the ball over Odegaard. Odegaard was screaming and said, "Mate, help! Help me out here." So, but in those instances. Yeah, I do understand where people come from. But me, I've never been supportive of the fact that Arteta gave him a new contract. I didn't think he's the way to go. Yeah, maybe I was. And he's not good enough. Not good enough for what we need. we definitely need someone who could score goals on a regular basis or play the false number 9 at a better rate, because Jesus is way ahead of Eddie in terms of quality, but let's be honest, Jesus don't score enough goals either. And you know, if you to sort of watch the overlap with all the panel, you know, Neville, Carragher, Wright, Keane, Scott, I think there's a consensus to say maybe the missing link for Arsenal to win the league is a striker, and that's the main situation. You know,
definitely.
How long have you asking for that? How, Kenny? How long? With 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Since a
well, it's the manager in it. It's the manager in it. The Arteta is very, very. Managers like Pep and Arteta, they're not just going to get a striker because he scores 20 or 30 goals a season. They're about all these other things. They're all about, is he going to work hard off the ball? Is he going to bring people into play? You know, is he going to fit my DNA? That's how they are, because you know, one of the things about Romero and Pep, they didn't get on because, according to Pep, Romero didn't run. You know what I mean? Didn't run. So it was always a case that Jesus was the heir apparent because he ran, and that's the thing. If you don't run for these managers, it's not a given that you know, people like Ivan Toney are going to be the answer. He's going to be the answer for us, but he may be the answer for the manager, and that's the thing. That's the whole situation. We definitely need one up top, but in terms of Eddie Nketiah, he is. We just have to accept he is what he is on the tin.
Yeah, if he could turn that work rate into goals, but I mean, he's had so long now to do that, and it's just not happening.
We all know his level.
Up Stephen Saw, you Reds.
We all know his level is, don't we? We know that he's overachieved by playing for us.
Well, yeah, 100%.
And you know, and it's the same. I think he's one of another academy player at a big club who hasn't made that transition from scoring bags of goals in the juniors and making it at a big club. You know, his only achievement this so far for me is that he's managed to convince the manager that he's a better prospect and a more trusted player than Balogun, because the manager couldn't wait to get rid of Balogun. Said, "No, don't want him."
I'll tell you what, if Eddie Nketiah can come up with a better song than North London Forever, then I'll give him respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, mate. All we got so far, Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, another point. The fact is, it's time that Arsenal took this thing seriously, and I'm going to come to you, Yeti, on this, and I'm going to come to Kenny. Right, there is a striker set up the road. Right, Ivan Toney, I rate him. I think he's quality.
Yeah.
In January, I think it's after January the 17th, I believe it is. I think it's something like that. We can go and put a bid in for him. But if I'm the management of Arsenal, I'm going on the 1st of January behind the scenes and say, right, we want this guy. How much is it? You know, if we're challenging, if we are still challenging at Christmas, or we're not, we still need that striker.
Yeah,
we still need him because we ain't got one. Eddie Nketiah is never going to get us 20 goals a season, nor is Jesus, and nor is Martinelli. Right? Yeah. And I'm sorry, nor is Kai Havertz. If you played him at 9, he ain't going to get you 20 goals a season. We are competing in two major competitions, the Premier League and the Champions League, at this point in time. So we need to be serious about it. Let's not pontificate and piss around.
Yeah,
all right, he may cost us a load of money, man. But, you know, Arsenal aren't skint. They've got loads of money. So what do you think, mate? What do you think, Yeti?
Well, basically, if you had Ivan Toney on Sunday, then Manchester City would have been terrified because of what he did to them last time. But Ivan Toney is an absolute class act, and I think that is pretty much what you're missing now. You're missing that, and you're missing depth, in my opinion. So you've got, whatever injuries you get, you've still got somebody who can jump in there who's good enough, not Jorginho or that little fart, whatever his name is. I don't know, the little teabag dude. I mean, that to me. I think if you was to get an Ivan Toney and some strength in depth, then you probably could actually be a challenger for all of this. And it's imperative because I mean he wants to go anyway. I mean he's pretty much saying that he don't want to be at Brentford. I mean they probably think that he's going to come back. He ain't coming back. And but it's going to be a fight to get him as well. So you're going to have to be the team that don't fart around with like offering them 30p more and all that kind of stuff. Actually go in there and be respectful and offer him what he's actually worth. Yeah. And don't try and penny pinch because Chelsea won't. And Tottenham probably will actually because it's Daniel Levy. But the others, whoever else is going to be interested in him, they ain't going to mess around. They're just going to go and try and get him. So you guys have got to do exactly the same, otherwise you're going to lose out. And I tell you what, he is the missing piece of your puzzle at the minute, in my opinion. But at the same point, I would say that I thought Jesus was really good on Saturday. And I think with him up front, there would have been something to be worried about as well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you got Nketiah instead.
Well, yeah, I mean, Kenny, I mean,
just kick the cat.
We got to do it, man. I mean, we can't keep going into competitions and being bit part players because that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We did it last season. And we fell away to the wayside because of injuries. We didn't have that killer striker. We got to, mate, Kenny, we just got to go in January and say, right, we want this guy.
I think the thing is, we are going to definitely do it. But again, with certain players, the manager's going to go for him. You had a kind of a feeling, from about January onwards last year, that we were going to get that midfielder first with Caicedo, and then after Caicedo, we heard the Declan Rice, the Declan Rice rumours long before he came to the club in July, long before we were talking about the Declan Rice rumours in around February. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with Ivan Toney. These are rumours. But I'm not hearing them from the manager, and that's where I'm concerned because I'm not convinced that he wants to go for a big player.
He has to.
I'm not convinced he has to, but I'm not convinced he's going for Ivan Toney. I'm not convinced of it, but he could prove me wrong because the day, one thing about this manager, he, unlike Arsene Wenger, he will go for a British player. You know what I mean? He's not one of those managers who would just go foreign. He will try but he likes them young. That's the thing. How's Ivan? Is he 25, 26?
Something like that, yeah. I don't know exactly.
I suppose he falls in that kind of category. But we're definitely going to need a striker. But the problem is, all I hear from rumours, it's not from Arteta, but you get them feeling, from people like the Oysteins and like I said, the Romanos. He was looking for a right-sided player. Looking for a right-sided player. As far as I know, right-sided player is Neto. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Neto, which again, I only can come to one conclusion. Doesn't mean I'm right, but people don't want to see it. People don't like to hear it. But I keep on thinking, is it going to be Saka playing up top?
Interesting point, man. Interesting point. Red Bull Vodka is saying Ivan Toney is 27. Excellent. Great age to have. He's coming to his peak. Get him. He's a big, muscly, strong striker, and we need that. But as Stephen says, Neto would also be a great buy. Yeah, I totally agree with that, mate.
100%.
Adam Palmer, Egal, the fake. Yeah, I mean that guy he does it for views, likes, whatever you want to call it. Really, to be fair. Going to wrap this up shortly. Next game, Kenny. Next game, Chelsea away. You'll be there.
Yes.
We've got to get that over the line. Chelsea.
I think we will.
I think we will. I agree. I think they're misfiring a little bit. All right, at the weekend, they beat Burnley, but no disrespect to Burnley. Cannon fodder.
One thing is, Jay, sorry to cut you.
Go on, mate.
Fulham away was a good win for them because they did defend really well, and they kind of scored stupid goals, but they defended for their lives. So that was a good win. So you've got to be impressed with Fulham, and you definitely got to. Burnley. Sterling's playing well. So one thing is that if our midfield, if we went with a strong midfield, we win that comfortably. But if we don't go with a strong midfield, it's a close game. But let's not forget, Chelsea at Stamford Bridge is still Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. It's still going to be hard to play well.
Yeah.
I just asked, what do you guys think about having Saka up top? Do you think that's a good idea? I think he'll get injured a hell of a lot more if he was actually in central positions.
I prefer him out on the right wing, personally. We need somebody a little bit more incisive. I mean, the thing with Saka, he scores great goals. You know, he'll bag you 10 a season. I wouldn't really necessarily want to see him up front playing in that 9 position. Not for me. But we'll ask some questions here. Adam Palmer asks, would you go on the football terrace, Jez and Kenny? Kenny, what do you say to that, mate? Kenny's frozen.
Oh, yeah, yes, yeah.
Would I go on the football terrace? Yeah. I've got no reason why not to, because at the end of the day, I'll say what I've got to say. If people don't like it, they don't like it. It is what it is. So
I'd go on, but I'd have to call Terry out on his waffling when he's wrong.
Well, I do. I've been on many shows and got myself in trouble because I've actually called people out. I went on a show with that e-gal.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I watched it.
He fucking shit his pants when I came on.
Yeah.
He didn't realise I was actually going to come on. So I'll go back to ask you this question, Kenny. Where I've lost it now. Where the hell has it gone? Kenny, would you go on the football terrace show?
No, because it's not. I'll be like a rabbit in the headlights because it's a young audience. It's not really for me. I know Sonny's been on there. Sonny Mfair's been on there, and I know like Claude went on there. But for me, no, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. You know, I would get extremely ridiculed, and I'll get a load of abuse. Not because I just look at the audience. They're like Arsenal fan TV audience, young audience. It's not for me. Sorry, I'll be honest with you. It's not for me. But I
hear that.
You have to be of a certain age group. If you're like in your 20s and 30s, then yeah. But look at me. I'm virtually a middle-aged man. I wouldn't go on there. It'd be like me going night clubbing at my age. And that's no disrespect to Terry, lovely bloke, but he'll be the first one to tell you it wouldn't work with his audience having me on.
But Lee goes on there.
Yeah, but Lee, but you've got to remember, Lee's got people like Lee, and other podcasts as well. They got a youngish fan base. They don't just have this fan base 35 upwards. He also grabs a very diverse fan base, and they are far diverse people. You got to remember, a lot of them like colloquialisms. Young people, colloquialisms are like watching young things. Like they're streamers. So Lee will speak that language. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you actually came with that answer, because I would go on there. And I'll tell you why I would go on there. I know I'd get massive, massive hate, right? Because of the little kids that get in there and all that bullshit. But it just highlights the fact that they don't really know what they're talking about. And I'd have great fun in there. I would have great fun. And I'd really enjoy it because I'd just wipe their asses. Because I could just actually say, I could rip them apart, just asking one or two questions, and they wouldn't be able to answer. And I'm thinking, well, there you go. You don't know what you're talking about. So how can you come in here and talk shit to somebody that actually does know what they're talking about? And I actually, it's like we've had today. You know, actually, somebody the other day, mate of mine, very good mate of mine, Arsenal fan. He said to me, Jez, sometimes you are the Grim Reaper of what you say to people. And I said, well, yeah, okay, I don't care. But the fact is, I don't, it don't, you know, that show we did last week, wasn't it? Last week, yeah. About the haters.
Said I looked 200 years old the other day. Bloody hell, Grim Reaper. You said I looked 200 years old the other day.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Off topic, but Kenny is a Joe Root, England's best ever batsman in all formats. Well, not in the cricket. Kenny knows about that, not me.
The best ever batsman for me is Geoffrey Boycott. Simple as. Geoffrey Boycott, David Gower, Geoffrey Boycott, David Gower, and Graham Gooch are much better batsmen than Joe Wood was ever. If all three of them play all the formats, Geoffrey Boycott wouldn't get as many runs. But in Test cricket, he'll smash. He'll be on about 20,000 runs. He's that good because he protects his wicket. Graham Gooch can play all formats, and David Gower was beautiful to watch. So, no, Joe Root is not. He's definitely those three batsmen ahead of Joe Root.
Fair play, mate. Not that I would know.
No, I would have no idea.
I always, I don't know. I would. Who's the famous England cricketer with the big long beard in the 1800s?
Oh, that's W.G. Grace.
That's him, W.G. Grace. I've still got, as a kid. Do you remember the old PG Tips little cards? You used to get and put them in a sticker book. I've still got one of them about cricket, and W.G. Grace, that was the man. Static says, Jez Egal still thinks RVP was an Arsenal Academy player. Yeah, on that stream I went on and faced him out. I said that to him, and he denied it. And I said, well, do you want me to show you the clip? And he kept denying it. Go on, Kenny.
Thing about it. YouTube, I think what it is, right, is that thank God for yourself and Lee, because I could tell you categorically, I probably wouldn't have a home to go to and to do podcasts on the Arsenal feed because I don't fit in with any of them except for you two. If it wasn't for you two right now, I wouldn't be doing podcasts because I'd be so disillusioned and so angry and probably not want to know, because the way it's going now is that there isn't room for someone like me on these podcasts. You know, you two definitely. All right, I'll do the occasional one with Lee Judges, and there's definitely room for me there. But on a sort of regular basis, it's only used to who know how to sort of like utilise me and sort of get me out there, because you know you show me there is actually room for my kind of delivery in terms of like talking about football and having the knowledge about football. But I wouldn't fit in with Terry, and I wouldn't fit in with. I've done the Gooner talk, but I never really fit. I never felt I fitted in there. And Gooner talk, and that's the thing. You've got to remember right now, the way YouTube's going, you have to get your own things, because YouTube now, especially football YouTube, it's all geared towards finding the next, you know, people like a DT or Troops. You know what I mean? And that's the situation. It's all geared towards finding someone who, for instance, getting someone who's an agent who an agent would be interested in. So that agent can say, right, I can make money out of this guy. I can get him to the football awards. He can do the content awards, like for instance.
Well, the thing is, I think you're underwhelming yourself there a little bit, Kenny, to be fair, because your knowledge and is second to none about football, Arsenal, and football in general. And I hear where you're coming from. I do.
I understand. I understand what he's saying. I mean, it's like me. I'd rather have like streams with people that are respectful, and you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I can go there if you want to go there, but I'm not really interested in that because there's so many creators just looking for the next rap battle. You know, two people that's just going to knock heads and have a go at each other. I'm not interested in that at all.
Well, that's the thing, Yeti. People just want to do that. You know, I was asked on a podcast after we failed to go to the Champions League in 22. If I go on it, I refused because I didn't want this sort of like, you know, big daddy giant haystack thing because I was going to be the villain because the majority of the people on the podcast I was tattered and they were just using me and I don't want to be that person.
Yeah. I agree with you totally.
I just want a good fashion debates. I don't want to be it's quite childish really to have a debate, Wenger in, Wenger out, and I was part of them, so I should know. Or Arteta, you're either Arteta or blah blah. It's babyish. It's babyish. You know that's sort of debates you have when you're 14. But I think, as you say, people like that sort of thing. But I do think like the football content wars does tend to have open doors for a lot of people because you look at the people who go to those things. The common denominator is they're all got agents, and all those agents will get them on Sky, BT Sport, Lap, and everything. And I think that's what YouTube's turning out to be. Like for instance,
I've got no interest in any of that. I'm just happy doing my thing.
And that's the thing. There has to be room for people to you know. No, that's Ty. That is really Ty. I've known Ty for over all my life, and grown up around him all my life. That is Ty. He's a genuine supporter of the football club, and he's the biggest supporter on ATV. He is more Arsenal than anyone on the channel, and that's not criticism of everyone. You go to any Arsenal game, Ty's there. But in terms of like all of these people, Curtis is a lovely bloke. I've met all of them. I've met all of them and know them all. But that's the way YouTube's going. You know, people want to make money, and if they're I look at it this way. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it's the best thing because you know, with the money they earn, a lot of fame they get, there's always to be negatives, and it's a short career, I suppose. It's but it's a young person's game, and I look at it and I'm probably thinking, you know what, I've done it before because I was doing other channels, and I obviously did a bit, got a bit, but not as much as these guys. So I've managed to study it, and not, you know, you can watch a podcast and think, no, I wouldn't fit in there, or you go on it once and think, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, that's what I've done.
That's the thing. I've been to a lot of podcasts, and I've known that they've only want me there once, and I'm never on again because even though the crowd love me, there isn't the kind of gel. For instance, I love Kevin Campbell a bit, but me and him aren't compatible when we go on a podcast. The work between me and him because of output, me, and I'm thinking, well, hang on here. I know you've played the game, but hang on here. I know the game inside out. No, I don't agree with you. It's not going to work, is it?
Nah. See, the thing is, for me, it's poor content creation because you can always do this thing where, you know, so-and-so, Kenny against the gal and all this kind of stuff. And it becomes like a UFC presentation thing where everyone's like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to see Kenny beat a gal up and all. You know, and it's just, to me, it's just poor kind of creation. It's so easy to do.
It's what they say, clickbait. It's definitely clickbait.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's the thing. People ask me why does certain people make it on YouTube, and I say that if you look at demographics, what they're looking at urban guys, and urban guys from from urban areas of London predominantly, and obviously they want middle class lads as well. who middle class lads. Now the urban guys probably have to work hard and be extremely funny and watchable to get the action, right? Because they come from working class backgrounds, but they make it because they speak in a language and use colloquialisms which young people want to imitate and imitate for themselves and try to be the next person. They're good role models. Whilst the middle class guys who do well on this as well, they have connections. They've got dads who can give them money. I mean, Fogden, Theo Ogden, not slagging him off, lovely lad, middle class lad. His dad's like I said, a conservative councillor in the northwest. He's got businesses in the Balkans, Russia, and everything. Got money, blah blah. He will cover that kind of young basic but middle class. You look at it, that's the ones who make the big money. So that's what. So you can tell it's a young person's thing. But the problem is that what you guys are doing now is very much untouched. People right now, a lot of people our age are thinking, I don't want to do this. I ain't got time for this. I've got a job. I've got more. What's this rubbish? Well, you get paid for this crap now. But there's a market of people who will watch because I think, well, hang on here. Those three guys on there now today represent me. Or youngsters will say, hang on here. They represent my dad because my dad's telling me about the club and everything these guys talk about in football in the 80s. That's what my dad tried to teach me. So they get drawn to us, and that's why you say up. Don't get disheartened by what you see because at the moment YouTube is going that way, but it's going to lever itself out, and you guys have to be in position to get what's yours because there's room for everyone. Let me tell you something about football. Everyone in football wants a payday, right or wrong. Doesn't matter who they are. It could be a player, it could be the agent, it could be like a fan now. There's an industry with fans. Football fans have got agents. They've got agents. Football fans. Referees have had agents for 20 years. You know what I mean? So you've got to remember that everyone wants to payday. There's
well, I mean, the thing is, rap and hip hop's been doing it for years. I mean, East against West, all that kind of stuff, because it sells and everybody wants to hear the next song from that person to that person, so that and that's how they gain traction. And YouTubers do it as well, where they want to get people up against each other because they know they're going to have an argument and they know it's going to kick off. Not for me, mate. I'm not interested in that.
No, we're going to wrap it up shortly. Kenny, quick question to you. What about Julian? Is he an actor?
Julian's a lovely guy. And the problem is that I always say to people, he's one guy you don't want to meet because the minute you meet him, you fall in love with him. The first time I heard about him, I thought, I'm not going to like him. I hate what he says on AFTV. I hate his fake positivity. I was coming back from a match at Crystal Palace away, and we were both getting a train. He just sat together, and I thought, I instantly liked the guy. He's actually a lovely man, kind person.
The actual person.
And kind man. And he's got a lot of love, a lot of loyalty. And for Mr. Lyle and his channel, I've got the greatest respect for him in that because that is being reciprocated. He doesn't need to be on there. We all know he doesn't need to be on there, but that's a nice guy who you think meet him first. You can't change his opinion, but him and Ty are actually lovely guys who just love Arsenal. They're living the dream. We've been kind. We've got, how to say it, leathery skin, and like the scars of we've got the knife wounds. We've got the first degree burns of watching our clubs and suffering their clubs. These guys don't have the first degree burns and the scars. They have the sort of like enthusiasm for the club, win, lose or draw, and they enjoy the atmosphere. Respect them.
These people make general perceptions of them because all they see is on the screen instead of actually, speaking to them face to face like you have.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this up because my tea is beckoning me. Long-haired Yeti, mate. Great stream you did this afternoon.
Thank you.
Shout your channel out, please, mate.
Right, okay. So first of all, I'd like to say again, thank you, Jez. Thank you, Kenny, because always a pleasure to talk to you guys all the time. It's always respectful and always, always a good laugh. Second thing I like to say is I really enjoyed the chat about Forest. I mean, that was my highlight of this whole podcast, that we how we talked about Forest.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
You know what? Yeah, it
We are
was.
the forgotten club.
I apologise. I really apologise for that.
23 years we've been nothing, and now we're nothing again. It's absolute disgrace. Right, anyway, my channel is Long-Eared Yeti's Cave. Come over there, got this new one started, view of the cave. I did episode 1 earlier on, like Jez said. Thank you, Jez. Also, I want to keep pushing this message as well. The bullying and the hating and the trolls, that I'm going to be doing a new show at some point where basically we're going to be open to people to talk to us. And, if you've got any issues or anything going on at the time, obviously not too sensitive. If you need that, then you need to contact me on Instagram, which is Long-Eared Yeti again. And I will talk to you and try and help you through that kind of situation. I want to keep pushing this. I don't just want to make it one show. So yeah, I mean, that's it. Long-Eared Yeti's Cave, and come in there, man. We'll have a good time. We'll have a laugh, and yeah, all good. You read? I'm gonna mention Forest. Screw you guys. Screw you guys.
Hey,
Forest.
Hey, you know what? Sorry to cut in, but Jez, I don't know, Jez. The hardest away game we had was not the Forest. Their fans are the most.
Yeah.
That is the most intimidating atmosphere I've ever seen. I mean, and the thing about it is that I didn't go to the game, but I was watching on TV when they sang Muller Kintyre. I could feel the hairs, and I don't have much hair. Stand up, I was thinking that all of them sang it in unison. Not one person didn't join in. I thought,
yeah,
just didn't want it.
Why do you sing that song? There must be a reason. I don't know. I meant to ask you this before.
It's to do with us just being by the Trent. I mean, there is another reason, but every time someone asks me, I can't remember what it is. But I mean, as soon as you're there and it kicks off, it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, and you've got your North London Forever at the moment, which is, man, that, I mean, come on, man. Come on. I mean, where did they make that up in the shower with Nketiah and Havertz?
Shocking, man. Shocking. And right. Well, thanks for that, mate, for mentioning that shit song. And on that note, we're out of it. And where can we find you, Kenny, please?
You can find me at KennyKen1972 on Instagram. I'm just going to be like a wasp, whatever. I'm one of those people who my Instagram stories is equivalent of cooking from scratch. People, you look in the fridge, you see an egg, you see one piece of bacon, and you see a bit of bread, and that could be a meal for 5 people. It's just like me with any headlines in the Daily Mail or any other paper. I'll make a headline out of it.
Cool, man. All right, Kenny, you're an absolute legend to me. Yeti, as always, thank you, mate. Your channel's
no worries, man. Tell you what, if I looked in the fridge and saw an egg and a piece of bacon and a piece of bread, I can guarantee it'd be burnt by the end of the time I've done with
it. Mate, I'm glad to say your channel is booming up. You're nearly on 100.
Yeah, get in there.
Everybody go and sub to the Long-Haired Yeti. Does great content. Great content. And on that note, it's the international break. Bore fest, boring, and we're out here. Take care, everyone.